This is Tuesday, miércoles for you Spanish-speaking people.
I don't like Spanish.
You don't know your days of the week? Miércoles. Hold on. Nobody in here knows their days of the week in Spanish yet. She learned a song for us. All right. Hello. It's Tuesday, December 3rd. The year of our Lord 2019. We are working through being reacquainted with multiplying and dividing fractions. The key to dividing fractions is knowing that you don't actually divide, right, Bella? You multiply by the reciprocal, that's the fancy word. You multiply and then you invert, there's another fancy word, the divisor. Or if you're in Mr. Franklin's class, you flip it, right? You change it to multiplication and flip it in that order. Don't ever mess with the first number, the dividend. It's always change, then flip. So let's see what we did. Number 3, page 236. Your homework, of course. Quick roll call. David, homework done? Yeah, start getting some homework grades in here. Rachel, homework done. 3 through 19, pages 230. Yes? Better to lose, Rachel, 5 points than.
Yes.
I'm not saying that you didn't do it. I'm just saying I'm speaking to you at this moment. Bella. Seth. Dominic. Ethan, you weren't here. Cam. Mitchell. Zacchaeus. Not? No, not done. Elise. Jordan. Noah. Sid. Ev. Lauren. Spence. Not here. Dina. Of course, Dina. Okay, here we go. Listen quickly, we'll get through this quickly. And then chance at least won't have homework. Number 3 is 6. Number 4 is negative 2.5. Remember, you can't leave your answer improper. Got to change it to a mixed number.
Negative 2.5.
I thought I was talking to it. My apologies, I don't understand, she said.
Are you streaming?
No, somehow I went to Google. Number 5, 1 1/3.
Yeah.
Number 6, 5/12. Number 7, 2/9. You missed it, mark it. Number 8, negative 3 8/9. Number 9, negative 1 2/3. And number 10, 2 1/4. Anybody need me to do any of those numbers 3 through 10? Number 9 was negative 1 2/3. Number 10 was 2 1/4. Speak up if you don't understand. If you missed it, you can't figure out why. If you missed it right now and you're looking at it, you're like, oh, I see. Then we go on. Noah.
Can you do number 4?
I can. Number 4 says 5/6 divided by negative 1/3. You understand why they put the negative in parentheses, Noah?
Yeah.
So that's not throwing you off. They didn't want to put divided by and then a subtraction sign. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this, Lorelei. Use different color. That's what's in the book. This is what I write. 5/6. You're not dividing when it comes to fractions. You actually get the power to change it to multiplication as long as, since these are opposite, you do the opposite here. Flip it. Negative 3/1. Remember those days? Okay. Now I can multiply straight across, Noah, and get 5 times 3 and 6 times 1. If I wanted to do that, I could. right? But every opportunity I have to keep my numbers small, I take it. So I look diagonally and I go, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. You with me still?
Yeah.
Okay. So now what's 5 times 1?
5.
And what's 2 times 1?
2.
Am I allowed to leave it improper?
No.
Remember, one's positive, one's negative, so this is actually a negative. Can't leave it improper, Noah. So what is 5 divided by 2?
2.
2 with 1 left.
Yeah.
2 and a half.
I think somehow I put a different number in the thing.
Where? Here?
I didn't even, I don't know.
Do you understand the process?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 11. What happened with this guy? Was there a mistake there, or did they just show you how to do it? Okay. How many hamburgers can you make from 5 pounds of hamburger if you use 1/4 pound of meat per hamburger? 20. Right? Because you're taking 5 pounds and you're dividing it up into 1/4 pound each. Does that make sense? So if you take 5 pounds, you divide it by 1/4, you're actually multiplying by 4/1. So you can make 20 burgers. Does everybody got that?
Yeah.
Some of you could just do that intuitively. You didn't even think about it as far as dividing by 1/4. You just thought, oh, 5 pounds, I can make 20. Because 20 over 4 is 5, right? But according to this lesson, you're taking 5 pounds of burger and you're dividing it into 1/4 sections. How many of those would you have? 5 divided by 1/4 is actually 5 times 4/1, 20. Number 12, 7/9. Number 13, negative 9/14. Number 14, negative 5 4/7. Number 15, 1.5. Positive 1.5 because both elements were negative. Number 16, 2/11. Number 17, negative 3/40. Number 18, negative 1/24. And number 19, negative 7/8. Numbers 12 through 19. Anybody need to see it on the board? Really? Everybody got all those right, or if you didn't get it right, you figured out where you went wrong. Okay. Beep. Turn the page. Actually, turn 2 pages. And we're working on review quiz 1 for chapter 5. There are 18 items, and you have, wow, plenty of time. Please, listen, I would really like, and it would really benefit you, is so many papers I see are just kind of like so disorganized and everything runs together. Like if you skip a line between each one, that'd be great, so we can see your work more clearly. I'll give you paper. If you run out of paper, I'll give you some.
I've already got a half paper.
Numbers 1 through 8, remember you're not multiplying, you're adding or subtracting. You have to go through the process of finding common denominators. And here I am. Yeah, see, that's just that's like so gobbledygook, someone might call it.
I have all the numbers.
Evelyn, nice and neat.
1 through 12.
Is 18. Review quiz, page 241. A quick checkup to make sure you're understanding everything in chapter 5 so far. Show me now. And if you don't understand something, raise your hand. Thankfully, 1 through 4, all the denominators are the same. David. 3. What is your common denominator? Okay. So what do you do with your numerators? Okay. Everybody pay attention. Number 3. Don't let those letters throw you off. David, is it okay if I don't write the whole thing?
Yeah.
You said the denominator is 12, so I'm going to keep it. And then David said add the numerators. What's 1x plus 5x? 6x. Hold on. Is that in lowest terms?
No.
It's 6 over 12. So this becomes a 1. That becomes a 2. Correct? So your final answer is x over 2. Right? Because look, 1x, x, and 2. There's your answer for number 3. Because the denominator was 12, so I took 1x plus 5x and got 6x. How do I take care of this to put it in simplified form? The 6/12 becomes 1 over 2. I don't write the 1 here. Look, 6 over 12 is 1 over 2. But remember, I have an x up top. Well, I don't have to write 1 times x. We know it's a 1. So the final answer looks like that. Number 3, look at it. Look at it in your book. Are the denominators the same? So you keep it, right? 12. What do you do with the x and the 5x? What's 1x plus 5x? 6x. Now look. Right? 6/12 becomes 1/2. And you don't have to write the 1. Remember, you don't write a 1 in front of the x. Everybody knows it's a 1. So the final answer is x over 2. Okay, so are you going to the play, Jaden? Are you in it?
Yeah.
Who else is in it?
Hi. Dina came in. Yeah. I know, I'm gonna miss the entire day of school. I'm so happy.
Is anybody from our school going to the play?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Just 7.
I haven't. Yeah.
Hold on, time out.
At reading.
We're
Are you being, so you know how we have study hall every day after this?
What time are you going to the play?
Third period, so we won't miss your class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're
I'm not
leaving
sure
right
if that's sarcastic or not. Well, like,
I won't miss your class,
Like
but
you're
I'll miss you.
happy.
You just called me Lorelai.
I said Lorna.
Oh, it sounded like Lorelai.
Yeah, I did.
Sound like
I'll miss your class, but I won't miss your
I
class.
think
but I'll
I
miss
stopped
you.
short of saying your whole name. What?
I'll miss your class, but then I won't miss your class, but I'll miss you. Because I don't like math. Right?
That was harsh.
I bet you got it.
First number.
Thanks,
Kira.
Kira.
Yeah.
What's that? That's my tree. Why are you making fun of my tree?
Gavin needs that.
Yeah, it looks like the Charlie Brown tree. Wait a minute.
Is there something wrong with
It's
that?
beautiful.
No, I have one of those on my piano.
We saw when we were gonna get another tree last year, but it was like big and it would have looked like that. We were gonna get it. We should have.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, I might have too many ornaments on. It's leaning.
The leaning tower tree.
Looks like the poor dog on French. All that stuff sitting up on him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions about anything on page 241, now's the time to ask. Lauren,
Can you do number 6, please?
number 6, 5 3/4 minus 2 1/3.
It's really helpful because that's the one I'm on.
Me too.
Lauren, is it okay if I rewrite it vertically?
Sure.
Elise, does that make sense to rewrite it
Oh.
vertically?
Yeah.
And now I've got two different denominators. I can't work with that. You can't add or subtract fractions unless you have the same denominator. So I've got to make these both the same denominator, and the process goes like this. You got to find the least common multiple. That tells you your least common denominator. Here's the simplest way to do it. If the smaller one goes into the larger one, boom, your larger one's it. But that's not the case, is it? So here's your process. What's the next multiple of 4?
12.
8. 3 doesn't go into 8. What's the next multiple of 4?
12.
3 goes into 12, boom, you're done. Now you got to create equivalent fractions. What would be the same as 3 out of 4? How many out of 12? He goes to the free throw line, he makes 3 out of 4. He goes to the free throw line. If he's going to be the same percentage shooter, if he's going to be the same kind of shooter at the free throw line, how many would he have to make out of 12 to be the same as him? 9. Or, guy goes in the pizza shop, says I want to order a large pizza. Do you want that in 4 slices or 12? We're going to make it 4. I can never eat 12. That's silly. Because if you get that large pizza cut into 4 huge pieces, and someone eats 3, and then the other one's cut into 12 normal pieces, and someone eats 9, they eat the same amount. Okay? So you got 9 twelfths and 4 twelfths. Right? 9 minus 4, 5 minus 2. Boom. 3 and 5 twelfths.
Is this at home?
Yeah.
Is this all you have?
Maybe. Are you done?
No, I have 2 more, but it's...
That's it?
Yeah. I mean, what? No, totally not. You should not give us more homework because it's just a lot.
You know,
Yeah.
what you're thinking.
Oh.
Fiborowski. Yes.
I only passed it, but it's 4 1/9.
4 is 1/9. Because you can literally go like this.
It goes like -4 and then 5.
Yeah. Since all the denominators or numerators are the same, you can keep the 9, right? And you just go 4 minus 8, which gives you -4, plus 5, positive 1.
It's 1 for 18, right?
Yeah, the whole thing. J-Dub.
Can you do 7? I want to check it.
Number 7, 5, 6 plus 2 1/8. Is it okay if I rewrite it vertically? So we got 5, 6 plus 2 1/8. In fact, Jordan, like this, since it's addition. You know what I mean? Because I can write it either way. What's so funny about 2 1/8 plus 5, 6?
I'm so confused.
All right, so Jordan, can I add fractions with uncommon denominators? No. So I got to make these denominators the same. Here's the process. 6 doesn't go into 8. Next multiple is 16. Nope. Next multiple is 6 goes into 24. That's our common denominator. 8 times 3 gets me 24, so 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 4 got me 24, so 5 times 4 is? Done.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. How we doing there? Zacchaeus?
We're doing pretty well.
Good.
What?
Did you do number 9 yet? You need to explain your answer. Yes.
What's there?
For number 7,
Yeah.
I got to 13/24.
13.
Yeah.
Which one of these isn't correct? When you did 6 times 4 to get 24, did you do 5 times 4 or
Yeah,
5
no.
times 2?
20 over 24.
So what's 20 plus 3? Yes, ma'am.
I need to number 17 on the board. I'm not sure I got it.
17. You got first of all, they're both negative. What's your final answer going to be?
Negative.
No. You got 2 negatives and you're dividing, so your final answer is going to be positive. Negative 1 3/4 divided by negative 7/12. So when I can't multiply. Let me start again. When it comes to dividing fractions, you actually don't divide, you multiply by the reciprocal, right? In order to multiply fractions, you got to have 2 fractions. Hold on, before we even get there. Before you multiply fractions, you got to have 2 fractions. You with me? So I'm going to rewrite this problem. Instead of negative 1 3/4, I'm going to write it negative 7/4. Let me stop there. You got that?
Yep.
Because negative 1 3/4 is 1 times 4 plus 3. Okay, I'm going to change this to multiplication as long as I invert, flip the divisor. You with me? If I look to cross cancel, it's a beautiful thing because I got 2 7s. 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 7 once. If I look to cross cancel this way, that's also a nice thing because 4 goes into both. So I've got negative times negative, 1 times 3, and positive 3.
Okay.
Kiera.
Okay, you don't want to do anything on the board, but I just want to ask you a question. So, on number 11, I accidentally tried to find the greatest common factor. Would it still come out right, though?
Greatest common factor. You mean you tried to find the least common multiple? Yeah. So you tried to find common denominators. Okay, listen to the question, everybody, because it might not make sense to you, but we're going to make sense of it. Ready? She says for number 11, let's say she got a little confused at the beginning, and since it's not adding or subtracting, but she tried to find a common multiple, would you still get the same answer? The answer is yes. Because all you'd be doing, listen, it's fundamental to your knowledge of knowing about fractions. Because all you'd be doing is changing it from 11/12 to 55/60, right? And from 3/10 to 18/60. And you'd multiply those numbers and reduce it and boil it down to 11/40 in the end anyway. Is that what you got? 11/40?
I got a lot of things. For what?
Well, see, then you made it more complicated by making those numbers so large. So when you're multiplying fractions, the question was, could you find a common multiple, common denominator? Yeah, but why? You don't need to. You would end up with the same answer in the end. Because you'd still be creating equivalent fractions, right? Spencer. Yeah. 18? Okay. Number 18. An average human hair grows about a ½ inch per month. Average. Some of our hair grows really fast. Some of you, you can get a haircut and wouldn't know it. For a month later, you have to get another one cut. How much does a human hair grow in 3.5 months? What are you going to do with those numbers? If the average is a ½ inch per month, and that average hair then is going to grow how long in 3.5 months? What are you going to do with those two numbers? Nope. ½ inch per month. How long is it going to be in 3.5 months? You're going to multiply them together. So you're going to do 1/2 times 3.5. So the average human hair in a season is going to grow, what'd you get? The average person's hair,
3.5 inches.
nope. What? It's going to grow 1 3/4 inches. So in a year, if that's 3.5 months,
Oh.
times 4, that's going to be a little more in the year. So in a year, it's going to grow about 6 inches. Wow. In a year, if you never got it cut.
Kate, if you get your hair like
I'm not going to experiment. What is it? About in a year.
You should get like that big.
So tomorrow, we're only missing 3. JD, Dina, JD, Dina, and that's it?
You're gonna only be gone until
Yeah, I'm not coming back either, Jaden. I really hope so.